Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Palmisano here, and let me know if you feel this way. I feel like the guitar and amp setup that I want, the rig doesn't exist. And I've kind of come to terms with just hating all my gear and just trying to simplify my process and not think about it because I've completely given up on it. For example, when I first started reaching out to Paul Reed Smith to work together in online education, he said, "Michael, I don't even know you. Shoot me a short video of you playing so I have an idea who I'm talking to." I said, okay. And at this point, I had just wrapped up a course and I shot him this little 15-second video. Looking a lot younger, a lot more sprightly than I do now. That was almost 10 years ago. And Paul's response, now we were on the phone, and he watched it, and if you've ever hung out with Paul or seen videos, I know in what he was doing in person was one of these, where he holds his head down, and he goes, "Okay, Michael, clearly you're a good guitar player. That's not what's the issue here. Nothing goes together with what you're doing." I said, "What are you talking about?" He goes, you're playing and your guitar and your amp and your look, like everything about you doesn't go together." He said, "You're playing a PV Wolfgang. You're doing country pedal steel licks on a Floyd Rose, going through humbuckers into a Marshall JCM 2000, and your EQ is terrible." That's basically what he said. And I said, "Well, hear me out. Let me hear." He was like, "I just don't know. I just don't understand what's happening here." I said, "Well, let me explain it to you." And I said, "Well, one, I like the bullseye maple. I like it's stiff. Okay, I like having my guitars bulletproof. I like when I bend them, they don't move. I like having the whammy bar, okay? And I, like Eddie, would have it flush against the body, not full floating, so it could only dip. I have 5 springs on the back. This thing is so hard to push down, I have to squeeze it like this. I can't just do it like this very well. I have to actually squeeze it. But what happens there is I'm able to do pedal steel bends like a fixed bridge, like Telly or something, and have the strings that aren't being bent not go out of tune because the bridge doesn't float. And it's got the drop D tune-up because I like to play heavy stuff, and so I can drop it into drop D. And it's just simple. Yeah, it's not Telly, it's not like single coil, so it's not going to get that snappy thing. I wish it did because I love playing Tellys. I love playing single coil country stuff. But what I don't like is playing them through these, soft little amplifiers that you basically have to use as pedal platforms. I like amps that feel like a cannon's hitting your chest, and I like the real tube amplifier, and I like the real spring reverb. And so I play through my JCM 2000 because the cleans are actually a lot better than you would think, but they're still super percussive is what I care about, is how percussive they are. And the gain, I can go anywhere from, nice and soft and breaking up with my volume knob, because I don't use any pedals. I can break it up to full-on mind-melting everything, but I can control it all because it's from the amp. And what I'm looking for is a guitar and amp combo that can kind of do all those things. And he literally paused for I don't know how long, but then he said, "Michael, that guitar is never going to be built." and I highly doubt, I forget the exact language he said, but he basically said that amp, that whole thing is like, that's never going to be built. And in an instant, it kind of hit me. I was like, man, maybe he's right. Maybe there is going to be no, I think what I actually said to him is, yeah, but it should. Didn't you know that all those, Hot for Teacher and all those Van Halen licks, those are just country licks, just hot rodded? Like, there should be something in the middle, like Eddie kind of created this thing in between the Les Paul and the Strat, but there should be something in between, like the people that like the heavy rock guitars where it's all about percussion and it's moving air, but then you chicken pick too, right? And so I ask you in this video, is that even a possibility? And if it is, what would it be? I'll share some other things about this guitar I like and don't like. One, I like the scale length. I don't know if it feels shorter, okay? And I love the unfinished feel. I mean, I know it's not completely unfinished, but I love feeling the wood in the Bird's Eye maple. Like I want to feel the wood and the wire. I don't want all the finishes and lacquers and things that, like, I want it, I want to, like these 3 notches here, I remember falling down the stairs and putting those in there, right? I like it. I like the wood. I like how it changes color over time. I really like it. Like, look at that. Look at the neck from that video and look at this. Like, some time has come into this. 2, the frets, though, because they're flatter, they wear out so much quicker. And here's the biggest negative, and this was the biggest positive for me when I started playing PRS guitars, is that I always had to do this side to side vibrato. And it wasn't until, and not all PRS, it wasn't until I got my 594 that I had the transparency and I felt like the whole thing was ringing to where I could really utilize violin style vibrato everywhere with just as much touch and nuance as a bend or a slide. Now, you can do it, obviously, with any guitar, but it's not as clear, if you will. It's like playing through just a single, class A or B, but just like a straight-ahead amp. Like, everything is on display, all of your weaknesses. You have to really know what you're doing. Same thing with, like, some of those really, really nice guitars that Paul gave me, where I was like, oh, my God, your vibrato is crap. So maybe some of that is from... you're going to say this from not playing a great guitar. But these are great guitars. But the frets, I don't know whether it's because the flatness or whatever, the violin style vibrato, it doesn't quite come out as well. And it could also have to do with the Floyd Rose, from ringing from here to here. I don't know. Someone please let me know. But also, they wear out quickly. Like, when I gigged with this guitar, I had to get it redressed every 12 to 18 months. Like, even right now, I just pulled this thing out of the case, and you can probably see it, like, all those frets have divots up there. Now, I do that to all my guitars, but especially this one. And the pickups, they're just, I think something has happened to these. Like, listen to this output. Now, I know the strings are dead. No, I make videos, not hit records, so the strings, we can wait to change the strings, but then listen to this. Like, it's totally lost something over the years. It's dead or something has changed in here, so I need to change the pickups. So what I'm thinking of doing on the guitar side is taking out these pickups and brace for it. Put in, like, take the ones out of my 594 and put in those, like, with the coil taps and see how that goes. Okay? I don't even know how to do that. I don't even know how to solder or do anything. Like, we'll see if I destroy it. And then from the amp side, I really like natural breakup in tube amp, but I also like really heavy distortion when I want it. I want to have harmonics everywhere. I want to be able to have full sustain with, you know, one, you know, muting every other string and just. Right? With the, like, and have everything be audible. But the percussion is the number one thing that I want. I tried so many great amps, and I gave up on all of them because they just were soft in the bottom. Anytime you put a pedal in front of them, especially any type of distortion pedal at all, they just would sag for just till the cows came home. It's just like the most unacceptable thing to me. So I want super sustainy. You want super middle of the gut, just punch, right? As percussive as possible, as transparent as possible, but as sustainy as humanly possible. And not no sag, but virtually no sag in the bottom end when you're grinding. Is this possible? Let me know in the comments. And if any of you would like to get involved and you're in the Mid-Atlantic area, you have any ideas, please let me know. Or if you just think I'm a confused soul like Paul thought, you can say that too. But I think Paul's gotten over it because we've been working together for almost 8 years now, and I love his guitars. But he's never going to make the guitar I want. And for some reason, he's also has yet to ever make any guitar to cater towards any type of country player. Even the Johnny Highland and Brent Mason models weren't really country guitars, were they? I'm telling you, once you start chicken picking and hybrid picking, you don't go back. But I'm telling you, you don't want to give up on your dive bombs and your pinch harmonics. So what do we do? What do we do? Let me know.
You don't put my love on yourself. Bring it home, boys.